Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Bob, I know Larry Kuharich really considers this, again, a pivotal game, and I know there's a lot of them in a season. He figures if they can put 2 wins together, they're over the hump and they're on their way, and the team is starting to gel.
Lions coming off a victory at Taylor Field in Regina last week, while the Ticats were doing a number on the Blue Bombers at Ivor Wynne Stadium. Hamilton has won 2 games in a row after a 1-3 start. Paulus Baldiston has the football teed up. Kennard Martin and Lorenzo Graham are back deep to receive, and we are underway at the Dome in Vancouver. This is Lorenzo Graham from the 11. And the left side really opens up, and Graham is to the Ticat 45.
Well, if you're excited about getting your team off to a good start, no better way to do it than to bring it back 53 yards. Basically, it was only 11-yard difference from where Baldiston kicked it off. Just a tremendous run. It opened up like you dream. Puts him in good field position to start.
Yeah, you'd call it pretty good field position. And Joe Pau will start at quarterback. He hands off on the right side. And the Lions add 5 along the ground to that big kickoff return by Lorenzo Graham. And it was Graham again with the football.
I think the BC Lions tonight are going to try to run a lot between the tackles, because when Hamilton goes into that 3-4 defense of theirs, it's going to be very difficult to throw against them.
2nd and 5. Joe Pau directing traffic from the 41-yard line of Hamilton. And the toss goes to Graham on the right side, and he turns back inside and is down after a gain of maybe 1 yard. Good work by Darryl Corbin and that Hamilton defense.
Well, they went to that defense that we were just talking about, where they have 3 true down linemen and 4 linebackers, and Corbin, who's normally an end, was a linebacker and made a great play that time.
Louis Pasaglia needs 4 points to break Dave Cutler's all-time CFL scoring record of 2,237, and he will attempt to get 3 of them and tie the record with a 47-yard field goal. That's not Boo, that's Lou. And it's wide left. Jim Rockford will concede a single point, so Pasaglia has begun the trek to the record. And he is now within 2 of Dave Cutler, and the Lions have the early lead. Field goal. Well, he started the game by missing a field goal from 47 yards, and now if he can kick one, he'll break it on a field goal. He's 3 away from breaking, and Hamilton has the ball for the first time in the game from their own 40-yard line, which was the last point of scrimmage on the missed field goal, and Derek McAdoo is stopped for no gain.
Who else but other than Doug Landry, he's one of those guys that he's going to set the tempo for the BC defense early, and he really has picked up from last week. He had 10 tackles last week and knocked down a pass, and he's going to give Kerrigan and company trouble, no doubt about it.
Kerrigan's interception total way out of whack with his touchdowns, 4-11. Now, we talked with Al Bruno as McAdoo was shaken up on that play about the interception-touchdown ratio, Nick, and he feels that Kerrigan has been let down by receivers not being in the right place on at least 4 of those interceptions.
Well, there's that, because they have so many injuries, they've got new people in there learning new positions. The other thing is if it bounces off one of your receiver's hands and into the hands of a defender, in the record books or in the stats, it goes an interception regardless of the circumstances surrounding it.
McAdoo comes out. Ernie Schremeyer goes in and joins Sam Laux in the backfield. Schremeyer, a second-year player, a Canadian. And it's 2nd down and 10 from the 40 for Hamilton. Kerrigan tried to get it off and then finds Estelle wide open at the BC 40 and inside of the 33-yard line. Big Richard Estelle found a large gap in the Lions' coverage.
Well, it started off the way the BC Lions wanted, because Kerrigan is a timing pinpoint passer. The idea is to make him pull down the ball and close in on him. However, there was a lane for him to escape, and Estelle works to the open area and gets the ball.
36 yards. Richard Estelle. And they'll rely on him with Winfield and Zatilny both injured and on the sidelines. The Ticats really beaten up. Kerrigan throws, first down, and it's complete. On the receiving end is Lee Morris. Richard Nurse, pardon me, who's filling in for Zatilny, and Lee Morris on the other side, replacing Earl Winfield.
Once again, this is something that the Lions don't want to have happen, is that you let a guy like Kerrigan get a little bit of confidence early and start throwing those quick timing patterns and having success. I mean, you can't, if they get 6 yards on a first down, it's too much.
2nd and 4, Ticats, Lions 28-yard line. Kerrigan inside to Schremeyer, and he's got a gain of 4, close to 5. He'll be within a yard of the Hamilton first down. The Ticats have 7 starters, Nick, out of their lineup.
Well, that's one thing. The other thing I wanted to mention was the fact that Doug Landry really does overshadow some of his teammates, and Willie Pless is probably one of those who's a tremendous linebacker, not the biggest guy in the world. He's got 39 tackles going into this game. He's 3rd in the CFL in tackles, and he's a team leader in that department.
3rd down, less than a yard. McAdoo is back in, but Kerrigan keeps the ball, fumbles, but the play had been whistled dead, and it looked like Kerrigan got the first down. Just to pick up on the injuries, Dale Sanderson, the Ticats center, is out. So are Winfield and Zatilny, the starting receivers. And on defense, Pete Giftopoulos, a linebacker, Lance Shields, cornerback, Dan Sellers and Tim Lorenz, defensive linemen, all out with injuries.
If I'm Al Bruno, though, I feel good that all my reserves came into the game and did a good job last week against a pretty darn good team. So he's got to feel good about that they're not using, if they'd have lost the game, he doesn't want to give them any excuse to say, well, we lost because we had all these starters out. They came out, they played hard, and your backup people have to rise to the occasion, and they did do that.
Mike Kerrigan's finest moment probably occurred here at BC Place. 1986 Grey Cup game. He led the Hamilton Ticats to victory, and he's looking very sharp in the early going of this game tonight. Kerrigan was really on the money back in '86 in that game. And he hands off on first down to Sam Loucks, who was really popped by Tony Visco after a gain of 3 yards.
Well, we talked about Doug Landry, and we mentioned that last week he had 10 tackles in the game and knocked down a pass. And we've also said that he has great instincts for the game. He's not one of these guys that you're going to fool very often with misdirection type plays. And again, he's the heart and soul. He sets the tempo for the BC defense just the same way as the secondary of Hamilton sets their tempo.
2nd and 8, Ticats, BC 23-yard line. Kerrigan with time, down to the 2-yard line, completes it to Lee Knight. And the Ticats are on the verge of going into the BC end zone. They're at the 2, and Mike Kerrigan continues to hold a hot hand early.
Well, he does. He's getting good protection from his offensive line, switching off the linemen. And again, the lesser lights, fellows like Lee Knight, Richard Nurse coming in, Lee Morris, all coming in, picking up the slack, doing a good job. They know that they're under the gun a little bit, and they have to respond.
1st and goal. Ticats, the ball close to the BC 1-yard line. McAdoo has it. And he did not get in. Derek McAdoo trying the left side. And he's not in the end zone.
Pretty good idea by the Tiger Cats. You're going to run behind Jason Riley and Miles Gorell, your 2 most experienced offensive linemen. And Miles Gorell at 300 and change is the man you probably like to get it behind. Now, even if he has to run up Gorell's back, he should stick to that side and try and pull it in.
Do we look for McAdoo again, or will Kerrigan try to get it in? It's McAdoo, same thing, and this time he carries his way into the BC end zone. Touchdown, Ticats. There is a flag on the play. Dave Ewell, the head referee. And it's against BC offside, so the touchdown stands.
Well, Bruno's got to be pretty happy. They put together a very nice drive early in the game, and he wanted Kerrigan to get off to a good start. See McAdoo a little dipsy-doodling with his shoulders and just sidestep all the cutoff blocks for the BC defenders. He found room around the left side, and again, for your money, I think that's where you should go.
Ball is Baldiston with Dylan holding. Puts the convert through. 7-1 Hamilton. You're watching the Molson Canadian Football Network. And resulted in a Derek McAdoo 1-yard touchdown run to give the Ticats a 7-1 lead over the BC Lions. That's referee Dave Ewell talking with the timekeeper about something that is not quite right somewhere in the stadium. We're not sure what it is. But Mike Kerrigan, Nick, like all quarterbacks, there's Derek McAdoo, who scored the touchdown, his 4th of the year, will go through streaks where he runs hot and cold. But when Kerrigan gets hot and is on with his timing and everything, boy, he's something to watch.
Watch out. The key word is just watch out. He's as hot a streak thrower as there is in this league when he's on.
The kickoff by Osbaldiston to Lorenzo Graham. And this time he doesn't get back as far. He brought the first one back to the Hamilton 46-yard line. This time he stopped at the Lions 28. Graham in the backfield with Chris Skinner and Joe Pau starting at quarterback. Doug Flutie will play, according to Coach Larry Kuharich. The receiving corps welcomes Larry Willis back. He missed the last game. He and Alexander on the same side. And the offensive line anchored by center Ian Sinclair. Mills and Clarkson, 2 of the bigger tackles in the CFL. Low scoring team. We have 2 of the lower scoring teams in the Canadian Football League tonight. The Lions are averaging 26 points a game. That's the 7th total in the league. Only Winnipeg has scored fewer points per game. And one thing that has concerned Larry Kuharich about his BC team is slow starts. They had 10 points in the first quarter against Saskatchewan last week and went on to win the game. They're down 7-1 in this opening quarter. The flag down as Zeno was a mile offside. The pass by Pau. Christensen almost made a terrific catch, but Zeno was 5 yards downfield before the ball was snapped.
Well, what they're trying to do there is they're trying to take advantage of that aggressiveness of those Hamilton rookie defenders.
Offside. BC number 2 declined. 2nd down.
Because you've got young fellas like Wilkerson, who is pretty aggressive, and they hope that with Joe Pau gives that fake throw that he's going to come up, he's going to bite on that fake, come up because he wants to make the big hit, and then the idea is to try and get Zeno and Alexander and those fellas in behind the defenders.
Ball at the BC 29, 2nd and 10. Zeno to the right this time, Alexander wide left, and Pau back to pass, and he swings it out to Chris Skinner, who gets up to the 40 and looks like he has a first down. That was Lorenzo Graham, not Skinner.
See, that's an excellent play. That's an excellent play by the BC Lions, because they realize that Hamilton, when they go into that 3-4 defense, they're going to have as many as 8 and 9 men covering all the zones in the defense. So they're going to give them this little type of dump pass and hope to come up and make the play. And in a lot of these instances, it's going to be one-on-one, and the back's got to do it on his own.
1st and 10 Lions at their 40-yard line. Willis and Alexander wide left as Pau drops the pass, sets up a screen, and it's broken up beautifully by Frank Robinson, and it'll lose a couple of yards. Now there's a veteran linebacker who knows his way around the field, Nick.
Well, he's one of those finesse type of players. He actually, Daryl Patterson, Ed Gadabakis are all the same. They've been around the league a long time. Often as not, they're not going to make the spectacular hit, but very, very seldom do you fool them or get them out of position. And they complement that secondary of Hamilton very well.
2nd and 12 Lions from their 38-yard line. Pau to Lorenzo Graham, and he can't squeeze the ball at his own 45-yard line. He may have been able to drive ahead close to the first down, but he dropped the ball.
Larry Kuharich's got to be concerned, because he said last week, if we get off to a good start, we can be in this game, but we're not explosive enough offensively to play catch-up football. He wants to stay close to the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
7-1 Hamilton. Louis Pasaglia has 1 point on a missed field goal. He is 3 away from breaking Dave Cutler's all-time CFL point-scoring record. And a good punt by Pasaglia, his first of the game. And good work downfield by the Ticats to stop Lee Morris for virtually no return. We have 6.5 minutes remaining in the opening quarter. A Derek McAdoo touchdown as Hamilton in front of BC 7-1. Lou Pasaglia with the BC point. And the Ticats with a football at their 30-yard line, their 2nd possession of the game. The first time they had it, they drove it 70 yards, 9 plays for a touchdown. 6:34 left. We're in the opening quarter.
With a timing type of offense, that's what you expect, is that they're not, often is not going to go for the long bombs, the type of thing. They just want to eat up the clock. They want to move it down the field in a crisp fashion as possible, and they certainly did that the first drive.
Mike Kerrigan from his 30-yard line. And he gets away from the initial pressure, but is sacked for a 3-yard loss. Kerrigan has McAdoo and Sam Laux in the backfield with him, two of his top receivers. As we said, Zatilny and Winfield out. Morris and Nurse replaced them. Rocky DiPietro playing with a sore knee, and Estelle the slot backs. And the offensive line without Sanderson at center. Ray Robertus has done a nice job filling in there. The rest of the offensive line, a big veteran group. Second down and 12. Kerrigan throws, and it's complete to Estelle up at the 39-yard line. They're going to give him the 40. And that'll leave him about a yard short of a first down. So an early decision for Al Bruno, who makes it very quickly and sends out his punting team.
BC Lions bringing a little bit more pressure this series. On you saw on the first down there, they got a sack, and they're last in the league with only 11 sacks. So that's one area where Larry Koharich wants them to pick it up. And also in interception department, they have 9, which also ranks them last in the CFL. And he figures if he can get some increased production from them, take a little bit of pressure off his offense.
Osbaldiston on 3rd and a yard to punt. Robertus is the long snapper. And it's a good one, and Osbaldiston gets a pretty good kick away. Jefferson at the 25. Moves to his right, gets around the corner, but is dragged down and forced out of bounds by Ernie Schremeyer. As Norm Jefferson, a rookie cornerback who's been a very good kick returner for the BC Lions, has a 15-yard run back.
You know, teams are told that if there's one of the starters that's going down the field like a Norman Jefferson, when you tackle him, try to get as many people around him to punish him as you can, because when he's got to go on defense now, he's returning kicks. He's going to be tired, and if he's beat up, he's going to be less effective.
Joe Paupow on the BC offense, unable to get anything going. They have another chance. Starting from the BC 40, Paupow over the middle to Kennard Martin, and he gets it up close to the 49-yard line for a gain of 9.
I like the situation that Joe Paupau's in. He's doing an effective job. He's came into this game when he started the year. Perhaps he wasn't really in their plans. He's one of those guys that they thought might be around to help out with the coaching, be on their practice roster. I think he's enjoying himself, and the other thing is I don't think he feels any pressure right now to have a spectacular game.
2nd and 1. The handoff goes to Skinner, and he makes the first down to the 51, but there is a flag on the play.
Illegal procedure. BC, no eligible end. 2nd down repeated.
So the Lions lose the first down on the penalty, and will have 2nd down and 6 against the Hamilton defense, which has Corbin and Covington on the end, Skillman and Napier-Kowski up front. Now Corbin will drop off and be a 4th linebacker a lot, joining Gadovekis, Patterson, and Frank Robinson. And the secondary, as Nick said, only 9 interceptions. But boy, they make you pay when you come downfield to catch a pass. 2nd and 6 from the BC 44-yard line, and Paupow took too long in getting that play off, and that will cost the Lions more yards.
You got to wonder if they're in this mentally right now. Time count violations, procedures, not lining up.
Time count violation. BC number 6. 2nd down repeated.
Not lining up properly. That's 3 mental errors in the first quarter, and that's going to create problems to get any continuity right now.
Bob Irving and Nick Bastai at BC Place. Just under 4 minutes left, opening quarter. Hamilton leading the Lions 7-1, and the Lions are 2nd down now and 11 from their 38-yard line after taking 2 consecutive penalties. Paupow throws for Christensen, but the pass was high, and Rockford had his sights set on Christensen, which didn't help the situation for BC.
Well, you watch Jay Christensen. Joe's throwing it deep. He's trying to loosen up that defense a little bit rather than dumping it out to the backs. You saw Christensen run down there. Now, he reached for that ball, but he probably knew that Rockford was somewhere in the area, and he didn't quite extend himself like he could have.
That's rookie Bobby Dawson, has 2 interceptions. This is his 4th game. 210 pounds, Dawson at 5'11". Pasaglia punting on 3rd down. And it bounces straight sideways and back upfield now. A very good Hamilton bounce. And they'll wind up with pretty good field position as Lee Morris picks up the ball and goes out of bounds. A 30-yard punt for Lou Pasaglia, who missed the last game with a groin injury, but says he's 100% ready to play. Mike Kerrigan facing a BC Lions defense. It features Mike Henry and Brian Warren on the ends, McCready and Greg Jolson at the tackles. Doug Landry playing his third game back at middle linebacker with Pless and Visco. And the secondary, Darren Willis, Larry Willis' younger brother, playing game number 2 at defensive halfback. McAdoo on first down, and he's chased down by Mike Henry for a big loss.
Well, you always want teams to think that you've got a running attack, and unfortunately Hamilton only averages 3.6 yards every time they rush the ball. That's last in the league, and that works out about 69 yards a game. That's also last in the league. But you don't want to rely totally on the pass, because you want your offensive linemen and the rest of the team to feel that you've got a well-rounded attack, and you want defenses to think that.
6-yard loss by McAdoo from the 37. Kerrigan on 2nd and 16 has the quick pass complete to Nurse, but he is tackled immediately by Norm Jefferson. He'll gain 8 yards on the play, but it'll leave Hamilton, in a 3rd and 8. 2.5 minutes left, opening quarter. Doug Landry tries to get the fans at BC Place into it a little bit.
I'll tell you, in this stadium, at times when that crowd is making noise, as a player on the field, you don't even hear the noise. All you do is just feel the vibration of the stadium. It gets so loud.
Ball is Baldiston. Good snap from Robertus. And a short kick that'll bounce to Jefferson at the 22-yard line. And he nearly popped through that hole on the left side. Norm Jefferson brought down at the 29. Ernie Frommeyer leading the tacklers downfield. A 43-yard punt and an 8-yard return by Norm Jefferson.
Well, sorry, Bob. You saw in the last series where Paw really aired it out on that one play. And I think he feels that you're going to have to try and do a little bit more of that. Now, that's going to create maybe some more problems for his offensive linemen. They have to hold those defenders out longer and longer, because Hamilton's filling up the hole downfield with defenders.
Foul from the 30. And it's to Willis on a reverse. Larry Willis to the 40 and out of bounds at the 43, a gain of 13.
There doesn't seem to be anything wrong with Larry Willis. He's such a fluid runner and such a fluid receiver. Just taking that ball great in stride, and you want one of your best receivers handling the ball in a situation like that, because you're sure that you're going to get a good exchange. And you see him huffing and puffing there a little bit. Even when you're in good shape, being out a week takes you a quarter to get your win back.
Willis looking very sharp, as you said, on that play. First down, Pow throws. Christensen with it at the 50 down to the 48 of Hamilton. Sonny Gordon made the tackle. Talked with BC offensive tackle Jim Mills about the difference in blocking for Joel Pow versus Doug Flutie.
We got the beauty of two worlds with those two, because Joe's got so much experience. He can come in and pick up the blitzes and pick up the short passes, and and Doug comes in, he can scramble well, and he can move the pocket around. It's kind of a nice feeling, and they both know they're both going to play, so they're both ready to play at all times.
Pow on first down, wide open is Alexander to the Hamilton 27-yard line for a gain of 21 yards after Christensen had caught a pass for 19.
Well, they've definitely found one area where they feel they can work on the Hamilton defense. That time, Joe Pow once again using a play-action fake that may freeze those linebackers so they don't get back as quickly as you'd like them to. Then he's throwing the ball behind the linebackers and in front of the defensive backs. There's a lot of room there.
Willis and Alexander left this time. Pow, big pressure, gets away from some of it and throws complete to the 15-yard line. That's Christensen again, Jay Christensen, and another BC first down.
Well, one thing that the Hamilton defense has always done effectively to create problems for teams, that they really can jam the slots well, they keep them close to the line of scrimmage. They bump them, they harass them, they change their routes, they throw off the timing of the offense. Now, in this case, obviously, is that the receivers are down to that short field side. They're getting clean. In other words, they're not being molested. They're just running down the field, curling into the open area. Joe Paopao did an effective job of escaping the pass rush, bought that little extra time he needed, results in a completion.
Paopao putting together a very good-looking drive the way Mike Kerrigan did early in this quarter to put Hamilton in front 7-1. We have 1 second left in the opening quarter. Jake Christensen leaves the field. Jan Carinci is back in the BC lineup tonight after missing a few games, but he was going to be used sparingly. He is in there now replacing Jay Christensen. 1st and 10 Lions, Hamilton 15-yard line. Paopao to Kennard Martin, and he can't get away from Frank Robinson. Will gain 4 yards on the play, and that will bring the first quarter to a close with Hamilton in front 7-1 on the BC line. Here, because if the Lions don't convert this second down from the Hamilton 12-yard line, we will see Louis Pasaglia try a field goal that would break Dave Cutler's all-time CFL scoring record. Paopao would like the touchdown, and he has it to Larry Willis.
At this point, I'm sure Louis Pasaglia is not too upset that he's not going to get an opportunity. BC Lions respond to the Hamilton challenge by bringing the ball right back down the field, putting something on the board, and that's what Joe Paopao gives you. He stands right there in the face of the rush, doesn't panic. He takes a good hit. You saw him lying on the ground. And as I said, Larry Willis, in my opinion, probably, they call him slick because he's probably one of the smoothest receivers in the league. I'd say he and Perry Tuttle are probably very comparable in that regard, that they seem to change gears, change direction, and do it going full speed, so smooth.
Now, you and I talked about that before the game. There's Joe Paopao celebrates his 7th touchdown pass of the season. Who are the smoothest wide receivers in the CFL? The gliders, the guys who just seem to slide right through there, as we see Covington put a lick on Paopao, and Covington hurt on the play, and Willis and Perry Tuttle. And there are many good receivers in the league, but those two kind of stood out in our minds anyway.
They make it look effortless. You know, they just
really
glide
do.
down the field.
Grover Covington has made it look effortless over the years, too, at 34 in his 10th season. Favoring his left leg, leads the Ticats in sacks with 6, and the all-time CFL leader in that department.
Well, Grover's picking up the pace now that, you know, you're coming up to a third of the season. And I think as a veteran player it takes you a little bit longer to get going rather than a rookie. And the other thing also, I think he misses his ex-teammate Mike Walker. The two of them were really complemented each other very well in terrorizing opposing quarterbacks. And if one didn't get to the quarterback, usually the other one did.
Pasaglia will attempt to convert the BC touchdown. And he is now 1 point away from tying and 2 away from breaking Dave Cutler's record. And there is David Cutler, who is down at field level, ready for a presentation that will be made when and if, and we can almost say now when, Lou Pasaglia breaks his record.
It's a bittersweet moment for David Cutler, I'm sure. I feel happy for Louis because you're going to get the record in front of your family, your friends, and all the fans that have supported you all these years. It's got to be a great moment for him.
What a great kicker that man was for the Eskimos for 15 years. Well, if the game was on the line, I don't know, would you pick anybody but Dave Cutler to kick the field goal for you? You might go with Dave Ridgway today. You might go with Louis Pasaglia. The point being, Cutler was something special.
Grover looks like he's having a problem with his brace there, either the brace or the back of the knee, and Tiger Cats have seemed to have an inordinate number of hamstring-related type injuries this year.
Derek McAdoo with a short kickoff gets it back to the Hamilton 38-yard line, The Lions are now in front 8-7, and we're just underway in the second quarter at BC Place. $2,237 points. And of course, straight ahead kicker, which we don't see much of these days in football anywhere. Flags are down on a first down play for Hamilton. Sam Louts on the receiving end of a pass from Kerrigan for a 12-yard gain. But there are flags, and Hamilton, I believe, offside.
You know, you're talking about Dave Cutler. Dave Cutler never believed in his life that he was going to be a kicker. He always, even in his 16th year, he thought he was going to be a linebacker. He always had aspirations to be a linebacker. And I told him, I said, that's not a bad idea, but you're going to have to get out of that single bar face mask if you want to play linebacker.
Well, and he was a linebacker in college.
Offside. Hamilton, number 89. First down repeated.
And he used to love to run downfield on his kickoffs, and try to make the tackle.
Oh, sure. On the other side, there's Louis Pasaglia. I don't know at what point in his rookie season he gave up the idea of being a wide receiver, but he always had aspirations in that direction too.
First down, Ticats, 15 yards to go. Kerrigan to Lee Knight, who goes high in the air to make the catch against Willis for a gain of 13 yards. Darren Willis made the stop on Lee Knight.
Derek McAdoo is a hard-nosed running back who likes to dish it out as well as accept it, and you see him taking on Willie Pless there, who Willie Pless, I'm not so sure, was trying to get to the quarterback. In that instance, he figures if I blitz, Derek McAdoo has to pick me up, and I don't have to cover him going out into the flat for a pass.
Second and just over 2, closer to 3 for the Ticats. McAdoo, and he won't get there. He gains a yard. Greg Jolson made the stop, along with Doug Landry. Hamilton in a 3rd down and 1 situation at their 47-yard line.
Well, the Lions going into this game had given up almost 449 yards per game on defense, and that ranked second to last in the league. And part of that is not having perhaps all the people that you want in there on defense. You're still experimenting with some new people. But if you start it with this guy and you surround him with good people, then you'll be there at the end of the season, I firmly believe.
10 new starters this year on defense for BC, a factor in the play that isn't as good as Larry Kuhartz would like to see it, as Balderson nearly had that punt blocked. Jefferson mishandles it, and Hamilton has the ball. Early in the second quarter at BC Place, the Lions up by 1. Ticats recover the BC 21-yard line.
You see Jefferson there. He should have fielded that ball in the air because bad things happen every time it hits the turf.
Mark Waterman recovered the fumble. Kerrigan into the end zone, knocked away at the last minute by Willis, intended for Estelle.
Darren Willis knows that he's going to be challenged this year, especially early in the year. He's been out of football for a couple seasons, and the teams figure that he's going to be a little bit rusty, and they're going to try to pick on him. Does an excellent job of waiting till the ball's close to the receiver, coming out across in front and just slapping it away, as opposed to trying to go through the receiver to get the ball.
2nd and 10. Kerrigan, and he's sacked.
Well, once again, they want sacks. They figure that's important so that Kerrigan doesn't get any timing. Really no mystery that time. They took Mike Henry and they lined him up similar to what Hamilton's trying to do to BC. They moved him off the line. They sent him up the middle. Nobody knows who's got him, who has him. He's a free man.
And he came through clean as Balderson will try a 42-yard field goal. And it's good. And that puts the Ticats in front 10-8. So Hamilton gets 3 points out of the fumble by Jefferson, but the Lions come up with a big defensive stand early in the game after giving the ball away deep in their territory. Paulus Balderson played his junior football with the Richmond Raiders here in Vancouver. and was drafted by the Lions in '86. Played 3 games for them, as a matter of fact, that year when Louis Pasaglia got hurt, and then moved on to Winnipeg, where he played a few games while Trevor Kennard was hurt, and wound up in Hamilton, where he's established himself. But he's excited about Louis Pasaglia maybe breaking the record tonight as well.
Well, he is. He says he grew up watching Louis kick, and maybe Louis doesn't appreciate that. So he's, you know, like
dates him a little.
Yeah. My parents told me about you were a great player. One of those type of deals.
Yeah. Osbaldiston kicks off and really pounds it, but nobody was ready. I don't think the official had given the signal yet. Osbaldiston was ready, so he just ran up and kicked it off. But the BC players were standing there waiting for the referee to signal the play underway. So they'll do it over. 11:44 left in the second quarter at BC Place. Lou Pasaglia still hasn't broken Dave Cutler's record, but he's within 2 points of doing so. Kennard Martin with the kick for BC. And he fights up near the Lions' 34-yard line. So the Lions, with Joe Paopao back on the field with their offense, off to a good start. Mike Kerrigan has similar numbers, both quarterbacks, high percentage in the early part of this game. Paopao begins from his 34-yard line. A handoff to Kennard Martin, who will alternate with Lorenzo Graham throughout the game, and Martin has 6 yards through the middle. Rod Skillman, 59, in on the tackle.
Well, that's definitely in keeping with the philosophy that the Lions want to employ, is that if they're going to drop off all these people and they're only going to rush 3 up the field, we might as well try and take advantage of them on the run.
Second down and 3, Lions. Their 41-yard line. Paopao to Christensen. And he's up to the 48 for another first down for the Lions. So Joe Paopao has found some holes in that Hamilton defense, and he's picking away at it very effectively.
Well, that's the thing that he brings to the Lions. When you talk about experience, it's the ability of knowing when to go to the run, when to go to the pass, trying to mix those 2 things up and keeping the defense off balance and guessing. And he's doing a very effective job of that right now.
Paopao hands off from the 48-yard line, and Kennard Martin gains 2, maybe 3, to the 51 of BC. Martin back from injury. He's the designated import in this game. He was with Larry Kuharich at Calgary last year, as were a number of BC players. Christensen is another. Larry Willis is another. Chris Major. There's quite a list of them. 2nd and 7. Lions at their 51. Paopao, and the pass was dropped by Chris Skinner. And he would have had to turn upfield and get about another 4 yards for the first down, but he couldn't hang on.
See, the important thing right now, and what Joe Paopao is doing a good job of, is patience, because that type of defense that Hamilton is employing is not going to try and give up the big play. They're going to make you earn everything that you get, and you have to be patient and not try and force the ball. And Paopao is doing a good job of that right now.
Lou Pasaglia has 2 points tonight. He needs 2 more to break Dave Cutler's all-time CFL scoring record. Not a very good punt by Pasaglia. Grabbed by Junior Robinson at the 30-yard line in hopes of drawing a no yards flag, but it doesn't come down. Molson and CFN proud to bring you the best of Canadian football. Place, you see his wife Loa. His dad is also here as he goes after Dave Cutler's CFL points record. 1 away from tying and 2 away from breaking it now with 2 points tonight. Ticats with the ball after only a 29-yard Pasaglia punt. From their 33, Derek McAdoo carries, and he gets 5 or 6 yards up the middle. I love Derek McAdoo's motto, which is never let one person bring you down. I want to hit the defensive players as badly as they want to hit me. This guy's not a finesse runner, Nick.
No, he definitely wants to be the hitter rather than the hittee.
And often is. What a game he played in the Grey Cup last year. 2nd and 4. Ticats from their 39-yard line. And that pass is complete up to the 43. Lee Knight makes the catch. Couldn't have been covered any better by Chris Major, but Knight hauls it in. However, he's a yard at least short of the first down.
What the Lions are doing to change up their defense is a lot of times now they'll leave their their cornerbacks on the outside. They leave them up and try and take away that quick passing game of Hamilton's. And it was, Major was right there and made a good play.
3rd time in the game, the Ticats have been in a 3rd and 1 situation, and they've punted each time. This time the ball at their 42. 8 minutes, 10 seconds left in the second quarter. And Hamilton leading by 2, 10-8. Norm Jefferson fumbled the last punt. He has this one safely tucked away. There's a flag down as Jefferson breaks it. And caught from behind at the 10-yard line by Mark Waterman. So it's wiped out by a penalty, and the 2-point Hamilton lead prevails. Tough day in the film room tomorrow, Nick, for Mark Turner.
Well, you're one of those backup linemen, and all of a sudden you're not so anonymous anymore. Actually, you see 2 clips here. You see Carl Coulter clip Frank Robinson, and there Mark Turner throws a clip, and Ray Robertus is making sure that the referee sees that. They could have called any number of those 2 there.
Called either one or both of them, it doesn't matter. They've wiped out a 61-yard run back as McAdoo gets more attention. He was hurt very early in the game. So the Lions, instead of being at the Hamilton 10, are at their 15. And Pow fumbles the snap from center, but he got it back. Lions have already turned the ball over deep in their own end once. Jefferson fumbled a punt earlier in the second quarter.
Well, they are last in the league in the giving the ball away and taking the ball away at -8. They did a pretty good job last week against Saskatchewan, not turning over deep in their own end, and we've got to be very careful of that type of thing. It's an easy points for the offense.
2nd and 10 for the Lions. Joe Pow swings it out to Jamie Terrace. And he's hit head-on by Frank Robinson. Terrace has a gain of 7, maybe 8 yards, but he still leaves BC in a punting situation. 6:55 left until halftime. It's 10-8. Hamilton leading BC.
See Louis come on the field. The Hamilton defense I think is doing a good job right now of, again, not giving up the big play, letting the play develop in front of them, and having the defenders run up and make the tackle, keeping BC deep in their own end.
3rd and 2, Lions from their 23. Louis Pasaglia, low snap, and an excellent kick. Sonny Gordon back to the 35-yard line, and cut down at the 46 by Jamie Terrace. Yesterday on CFN at Taylor Field in Regina, our Molson MVP was slotback Ray Elgard of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Had a big game on the receiving end of passes from Ken Austin, and 2 touchdowns for Elgard as he helped the Riders to a very large win over the Eskimos. A win that moved Saskatchewan into 3rd place in the West, 1 point ahead of the BC Lions. And we are at BC Place Stadium, where Hamilton leads BC 10-8. 6:20 left now in the first half. Ticats 1st and 10 from their 47. Kerrigan gets away and then throws it deep for Lee Knight, and it's tipped away by Ken Watson.
We saw magazine cover before the game there, Bob. I couldn't believe the size of Ken Watson's arms. I mean, this guy, to me, looks like a defensive lineman, pretty big and strong. See, Kerrigan buys himself again some time. He's not known as a scrambler, but just enough pocket sense to move, buy some time, throw it downfield, and challenge the defensive backfield of the BC Lions.
Watson from Livingston University. Larry Kuhart's not pleased with his defensive backs early in the season, but said they played well in Regina, and they're coming on. 2nd and 10, Ticats from their 47. Big pass rush from the Lions. Kerrigan gets it away to Richard Estelle, and he's down to the 50. Watson makes the tackle, but a 13-yard gain and a Ticat first down.
It's interesting how both teams seem to be adopting the same type of philosophy right now. As defenses are dropping a lot of people in coverage. Receivers are just running down 5 or 6 yards, turning to the quarterback, showing their numbers. He's throwing the ball and saying, okay, you're in a one-on-one situation. We'll give you the ball, do something with it.
A couple of veteran quarterbacks taking what is there. Mike Kerrigan from the Lion 50. Landry blitzing. They hand off to McAdoo, who gets maybe 2 yards. McAdoo has twice come out of the game with injuries, and on that play didn't look like the Derek McAdoo we know.
Well, one thing you're alluding to earlier, where he really likes to dish out as much as accepted, you know, it makes for a tough football player, but it also makes for perhaps a shorter career. And when you're not the biggest guy in the world, it's going to take its toll over the course of a game.
2nd and 9, Ticats, BC 49. Blitz coming, Kerrigan throws, Estelle, nice catch. BC 32-yard line. Another Ticat first down. And Mike Kerrigan really has it going for him tonight.
Well, he seems to have found something with Richard Estelle. He got something going, but you see the Lions now, they're getting to that position in the field where they're going to start bringing more people. In other words, they're in their own end. The blitz was picked up extremely well by the Hamilton offensive line. Again, it's not a glamorous job, but someone has to do it.
And they're doing it well. First down, Ticats from the 33. Kerrigan to Richard Nurse, and he has the ball. Jefferson right there to make the stop. The BC 29, 4 more yards for Hamilton. Nurse went to Canisius College, which is in Buffalo, New York, a draft pick of Hamilton this year. Hamilton native.
I believe they're a Division III NCAA school. The thing with Nurse is he's got a lot of potential, but Garney Henley was saying, one of the assistants with Hamilton, is that with these young receivers, they have a tendency to want to get into their pattern too soon, and then consequently they break it off.
2nd and 7, BC 29-yard line, and there's the pass dropped by Lee Knight. Mike Kerrigan, perfect job of putting it right on the numbers, and Lee Knight just flat out dropped it.
Well, that's where receiver concentration is so important, because you realize that you're being covered quite closely by the defender. It's extremely important that you concentrate on first things first. That is, catch the ball and then you're going to get hit. Could be he took his eye off the ball in anticipation of being hit.
That's the way they draw those plays up, but the receiver has to catch it. Balderson from the 36-yard line, and this field goal is good. And the Ticats increase their lead to 5 points, 13-8 over the BC Lions with 3 minutes and 11 seconds left in the first half. Paulus Balderston with 2 field goals tonight. He is now 18 for 21 on the season as Balderston. Enjoying a very good year. His 5th year in the CFL and his 4th with Hamilton.
I think he's one of those players that has benefited perhaps from being with a couple different teams, watching a veteran like Pasaglia, watching a veteran like Trevor Kennard, picking up some pointers from those people, and more than anything, perhaps some mental aspects of the game. The guy has perhaps the strongest leg in the CFL, and accuracy, of course, is extremely important, and he's just worked on that, and he's developed into a premier kicker.
And not a bad punter either. That was the area of his game that was not that strong when he started doing both, but he's improved on it dramatically as Lorenzo Graham brings back the kickoff, and he's out to the 44-yard line of the BC Lions. 3:04 left to the first half. Louis Pasaglia still doesn't have the record, and the Lions are down by 5. Brian Warren of the BC Lions took a shot on the back of the head, and he's okay, we're told, at least in relative terms. He will continue to play. Easy for us to say he's okay. Todd Dillon looking on from the Hamilton bench. He has not been in this game yet. Pow and Kerrigan, the starting quarterbacks, and they have played all the way. 3 minutes left, first half. Chris Skinner with a carry, and he gets rolling across center field down to the 52-yard line of the Ticats. Both veteran quarterbacks have had good nights. Kerrigan 10 out of 13, Pow 10 out of 14. The difference being the touchdown pass that Pow has thrown, but the Ticats are in front.
Well, those numbers tell you that both teams are playing a very much controlled type of offense right now.
13-yard gain by Skinner. Pow to Chris Skinner. And he adds 8 more yards down to the 44-yard line of the Tiger Cats as Pow continues to throw under that zone defense with the Ticats dropping out of there.
See a veteran Rick Klassen with Tony Visco there. He figures he'll be back sometime in the second week of September. Looking a little gray around the temples there. Playing defensive line will do that to you.
Klassen doing a little coaching while he's out. Skinner carrying on 2nd and 2, and he converts it. First down to the Ticats 41-yard line.
You know, Bob, at this point in the game, you get the feeling that both teams are willing to let the other team move the ball down the field, and they're going to that bend but don't break theory of defense. And they figure the breaks will come as somebody turns the ball over deep in their own end. Fumbles and penalties.
Sinclair, Groenwegen, Romano, Clarkson, and Mills, the 5 up front of the BC offense. Pow. Throws for Alexander, and Rockford rips him, but Alexander hangs onto the ball.
Ray Alexander did a tremendous job this time of just avoiding the defenders. He picks his way down the defense without getting bumped on the line, gets free. And this is what separates good receivers from great receivers. You know you're going to get hit. You're anticipating it. You hang on to the ball.
From the 22, Pow. And that pass is incomplete, intended for Lorenzo Graham. What a hit Rockford put on Ray Alexander, who knew he was going to get hit as soon as he caught it and turned to look. Didn't have much time to think about it, which is just as well. Al Bruno looking on. We talked about the Ticats being 1-3 at one stage, and a little heat on Al, and he said, well, I mean, isn't the goal to get to the Grey Cup? That's right. Well, Al's done that 4 times. In the years he has coached the Ticats, this is his 7th full season. Pow on 2nd down. Lots of time. Wide open down to the 10-yard line is Lorenzo Graham, and close to the 5.
At this point, I think the Tiger Cats may have to start bringing more people, because that front line is just not getting to Pow. And what they're doing is they're allowing Graham and Skinner to release downfield. Now, at least if you send a linebacker, those backs have to stay in and pick up the linebackers and block them. They can't get out into the pattern.
1st and goal, Lions. Pow, touchdown, Ray Alexander.
Joe Powell's just done an effective job of moving the ball around, making sure everybody gets it. Again, what better throw between 2 defenders could you expect? That's just cool, calm, collected quarterback who knows what he's doing and is in complete charge.
Joe Powell's 2nd touchdown pass of the night, 8th of the season, and Lou Pasaglia will now attempt to tie Dave Cutler's all-time scoring record, and he does. 2,237 points now for Lou Pasaglia.
You see Ray Alexander just down and inside. At that moment there, it looked like too many receivers in the one area. You see Joe Powell's reaction once he throws his pass. He tries to portray himself as being very calm, cool, and collected. But you know, inside, he's pretty excited, and he says, give me some offensive line. You did your share. Give me some.
Joe Powell moved past Warren Moon and Peter Liss into 14th place on the all-time CFL career passing yardage list this season. He's over 21,500 passing yards. And what a story, Joe Powell. 2 years out of the game, come back, and he looks better than ever, Nick.
You know, that stint as a coach probably didn't hurt him either, because I think as a coach you have to learn basically all facets of the game, and from the defensive and offensive side of the ball. If you have a good idea what defenses are trying to do, it just makes you that much more effective as a quarterback.
McAdoo on the kickoff return. Inside move, and he gets up to the Ticat 42. 1:06 left in the first half. at halftime. A look at one of the underrated members of the Hamilton defense who's noticed some changes in the game.
Passing game is a quicker game now. They're not necessarily going for the deep pass anymore. They're going for more of the 10 and 15-yard out.
Rod Skillman, you'll see at halftime, and we'll also talk live with Lou Pasaglia, who has tied Dave Cutler's all-time points record. Kerrigan passes to Estelle, and that's a gain of 10 yards, close to 11 and a first down. Estelle was a yard offside and then came back onside. I don't know if they called it or not. Yes, they did. They did catch him for procedure, so the play will come back.
I guess if you know you're going to get the ball or you anticipate getting the football, you get a little excited, a little antsy.
Well, he came in motion.
Illegal procedure. Hamilton, number 89, first down repeated.
As the slot backs in the CFL often do, trying to time their move upfield with the snap of the ball, but he was a little early. A lot early, you might say.
He's got to know that. You step back.
Al Bruno thinks he got back onside. The referees don't. Kerrigan puts it up long down the right side. No good. Lee Morris, the intended receiver. Mike Kerrigan has not thrown deep very often tonight, and that one didn't work for him. 58 seconds left in the first half. 15-13 BC.
Well, you'll throw deep to loosen up that defense. As the game goes on, and if all you're doing is throwing those little short dump passes to the slots and the backs, the defense has, psychologically, they start to press. Physically, they start to press. All that does is say, hey, at any time, we can go deep on you, so just back off.
2nd and 15 from the 36. Kerrigan sets up quickly, throws to Lee Knight, and it's almost intercepted by Rick Ryan, as Darren Willis had Knight covered very closely.
Well, you figure that with Rocky DiPietro not playing that much, he must obviously be hurting a little bit more than perhaps they're letting on, because you know in that kind of a situation, Kerrigan would be looking, especially for a fellow like Rocky, anticipating throwing him the ball.
DiPietro is dressed, but we could count him, I guess, as the 8th Ticats starter who's not playing tonight. The other 7 aren't in uniform, and the Rocky hasn't played. As Baldiston to punt, and he gets a beauty away. Jefferson chases it back to his 20-yard line. Norm Jefferson had a big one wiped out earlier. Here's another penalty flag as Jefferson breaks another one down to the 34-yard line of the Ticats, but there's a penalty, and you can almost be guaranteed it's against the BC Lions.
If that's the case, Bob, you just think of the difference in field position that those two plays alone would have made for the Lions.
Huge difference. That was a 55-yard return. Earlier, Jefferson had a 61-yard run back taken away by an illegal block.
And what doesn't show up in the penalty stats is the yards that you lost from bringing it back.
Illegal block. BC on the run back. Unnecessary roughness. Hamilton, number 51, first down.
See, Jefferson, both times now he's worked to the outside. They set up a picket, or what they call a wall, and that allows all his blockers to have good angles on the people coming down, but you've got to work hard to get in front.
John Stewart was called in the clip, and Dave Richardson called for roughing in Hamilton. So the Lions start from their 41, and Chris Skinner has a first down pass with 25 seconds left in the half. Up to the BC 49-yard line, close to the 50. And they may yet give Pasaglia a chance to break Cutler's record in this first half.
Maybe the way it's going, maybe Louis feels it's like pulling teeth. It's taking forever.
Point by point tonight for Lou Pasaglia. Pow, quick pass, intercepted. The receiver didn't turn around, and the Ticats have an interception. Gary Wilkerson picks it off.
What the Lions offense has to be aware, with Joe Papo in there, much more so than Doug Flutie, he will audible. He will change the play according to what he sees. This more than likely was an audible situation. A fellow like Zeno has to pick up that audible, be prepared for the ball. If he's not looking, Wilkerson can see where Papa's looking, makes the play, and they're darn lucky he didn't score.
Third interception of the year for rookie cornerback Gary Wilkerson.
Unnecessary roughness. BC number 6. First down.
And Pow takes a roughing penalty. Boy, that's unusual, to put it mildly. A quarterback gets a roughing penalty. I've never seen that. Nick, have you?
Well, I don't know what to say. I mean, that is surprising because Joe is normally a very mild-mannered, calm, collected type of guy.
And what a turnaround. The Ticats now with the ball at the BC 20 with 18 seconds left. Kerrigan to Lee Knight, touchdown! What a dramatic turnaround in this first half with that interception. And touchdown, 13 seconds to go, and the Ticats are back in front.
You want to talk about taking the wind out of your sails. Not only do you have the big play go against you, you turn it over deep in your own end, but they come right back on the very next play, stick it in there for a touchdown. You go in at halftime, you figure you're going to be up. Instead, you're down. You know, for a team, it's just so incredibly demoralizing at this point in the game.
Osbaldiston will add the convert, and it's a 5-point Hamilton lead at 20-15, where it looked a few seconds ago like the Lions would take a 2-point lead and maybe a few more to the dressing room at halftime. And Joe Pow feels worse than anybody as Lee Knight celebrates the touchdown because Pow threw the interception and then took a roughing penalty. The thing we don't know is what happened on the interception. Were the BC receivers in the wrong place, and there's a good chance that occurred.
Well, I'll tell you what happened. Joe just got mad. You know, in that instance, you don't know if he's mad at himself for throwing a ball he feels he shouldn't have, or he's mad at the receiver, or it's a combination of things. But you're talking about Lee Knight. Once again, your lesser lights have to come to the front when guys like Tilney and Winfield, who are such a large part of your special teams, such a large part of your offense, when guys like that go down, the lesser lights have to step forward, have to pick up the slack, have to do their share, and Al Bruno's got to feel good that that's happening with his team. Again, we're not looking for excuses if we lose a game because we got injuries. We fully expect to go into every game winning regardless of who lines up for us.
We're going to watch Lee Knight on this kick coverage as there's no rest for him. Lorenzo Graham will bring it back to BC, and he's down at the 31-yard line. 6 seconds left in the first half. What a series of plays for Lee Knight.
Well, he may be having a career game right now because these are the types of things that most people don't really notice. And it's an unsung job. He fights off the block. Warren slides across and just does an excellent job of hustling, making the play and pulling down the runner.
Lee Knight, a graduate of the Burlington Juniors, who has developed into a very, very solid CFL slot back. Not a bad tackler either. Joe Pow on first down will crank it up long and hope somebody can tip it to somebody else. And it was almost caught by Zeno. And Lee Knight celebrates a good ending to the first half for the Ticats. A late touchdown gives them a 5-point halftime lead.
It's not just a rivalry.
More like a civil war.
When Calgary comes to town, it's nasty town.
In Alberta, 67% of football fans tested prefer the taste of Diet 7-Up over Diet Coke.
We like the taste of Diet 7-Up.
You got a problem with that? Edmonton, Calgary, nothing in common.
Challenge your taste.
Hamilton Tiger Cats have had a lot of high-profile defensive players over the years. They've also had some very effective players who you haven't heard much about. One of them is defensive tackle Rod Skillman. When you think of Hamilton's defense, you automatically think of the league's all-time sack leader, Grover Covington. You might even think of Mike Walker, although he now plays for Edmonton. You seldom think of the reliable Rod Skillman.
This is my 7th year now. I came up in '84. We went to the Grey Cup. You know, I was nominated Rookie of the Year for our team. So I can't really complain too much about, you know, my stay here at Hamilton.
Pursuing quarterbacks has always been Skillman's forte, but the CFL's changing offensive style has made this year a bit different.
Passing game is a quicker game now. They're not necessarily going for the deep pass anymore. They're going for more of the 10 and 15-yard out. So that's a much quicker game. And you also got to understand you've got a group of quarterbacks in the league now that are very mobile. They're not just going to sit back in the pocket and take the hit. They're going to run, they're going to scramble, they're going to try to make things happen.
Skillman's Tiger Cats have participated in 4 championship games since his arrival in 1984. While en route to Edmonton for his first Grey Cup, he met his future wife, Mary.
He came back to put one of his bags in the overhead bin and said hello, and then he came back after a while once we were in the air and started chatting, and I thought he was waiting for the bathroom. But it turned out he was just talking to me. So I invited him to sit in the empty seat, and we talked. And I'd never seen a football game or been to one. I had no idea, no conception of what his position was or what it really meant to be in the Grey Cup even. So this was a great experience for me.
Skillman knows it won't last forever, and when the end comes, he'll be prepared as always.
You know, that's sort of been a tradition in CFL where guys, you know, in the community that they play in, they find jobs in there. I've been lucky enough that the Royal Bank has been very lenient in letting me take off for practice and take off for games, you know. And so it's really helped me a lot. And, you know, I want to have a career after football, and this is a way for me to do it, you know, get my foot in the door. And when I do retire, then, you know, I can just go right in and not have such a big transition.
As Skillman finally gets through in a big loss. At BC Place in Vancouver, the Ticats lead the Lions by 5 at halftime. Let's look at and listen to some of the first half scoring. Or will Kerrigan try to get it in? It's McAdoo, same thing, and this time he carries his way into the BC end zone. Touchdown. Paopao would like the touchdown, and he has it to Larry Willis. First and goal, Lions. Paopao, touchdown, Ray Alexander. The Ticats now with the ball at the BC 20 with 18 seconds left. Kerrigan to Lee Knight, touchdown. Statistically, BC with an edge in first downs. Total offense is pretty close. BC with an edge, but the turnovers, a big story. The Lions had 2 of them, and they led to 10 Hamilton points, and that's basically the difference in the game as the Ticats lead it 20-15 at halftime, and Lou Pasaglia has tied Cutler's scoring record.
This CFN game is an exclusive presentation of Miller Lite. Goes down great among friends. And Priority Courier, the official courier of the CFL.
Five-point lead for the Ticats at halftime over the BC Lions. And Nick Vestay, as we look back at that first half, 2 turnovers by the Lions, really the difference.
Well, that, and the other thing, though, don't forget, is they had 8 penalties, and that's the least penalized team in the CFL. They're not playing like it tonight. The thing that impresses me, though, Hamilton has come in here, 3-hour time change. They came in late yesterday. They're not playing sluggish. They're aggressive. They're doing a good job right now and playing a good football game.
Both of the veteran quarterbacks very sharp tonight, too.
Yes, they have been, and both defenses have been content to let those quarterbacks throw the ball in front, move up and make the tackle. Both defenses are afraid to give up the big play, so you see a high completion ratio, not for a lot of yards. In other words, you're going to get your 10 yards or 10 to 12 yards per reception rather than 20 plus, which would signify a long bomb type of game.
Now, Lions coach Larry Kuharich told us that both his quarterbacks, Paopao and Doug Flutie, would play. I'm wondering at this stage how he takes Paopao out of this game. He may have to change his thinking, although Joe did throw an interception late, but he's played so well.
He has, but you said the key thing is he throws another interception, he might be out.
That's when the decision will be made easier. Leading receivers in the game tonight, Richard Estelle has been a big man for Hamilton. And Ray Alexander caught 2 touchdown passes in the Lions' win over Saskatchewan last week. Having another good night. Mike Kerrigan will stay in at quarterback. Todd Dillon has a hip pointer. He could play, though, and will if Kerrigan encounters difficulties. Louis Passaglia with a single on a wide field goal and 2 converts to tie Dave Cutler's all-time CFL points record, 2,237. And you have to think he'll break it in the second half. Probably not on this kickoff, though. McAdoo at the 25 on the run. And McAdoo brings it back to the 47-yard line of the Ticats.
You see Jay Christensen on the sidelines there. He's got a mild concussion and he may not return. You don't want to take a chance with any type of head injury. And the other part of that, of course, is that sometimes you're not exactly sure where you're supposed to line up or where you're supposed to be on the field. And that, of course, can create some problems for your offense.
Kerrigan and the Hamilton offense will start the second half at their 47-yard line with a handoff to Derek McAdoo, who was really held in check along the ground in the first half. Landry in on the tackle as McAdoo again is stopped for a short gain, maybe 2 yards. Watson was also in on the tackle. Many Lions converged on McAdoo.
Well, I think that's one of the keys. You say, how do you know when the defense is starting to come together? Now, there's 10 new guys on that defense. One of the keys is they're all reading the same thing. They're all swarming the ball carrier. 2 guys hit them, a couple more might go for the ball. That's the key right there. And the other thing with Hamilton, when they run the ball, you know McAdoo is going to carry it. He's the only guy, basically, that they give it to. Second down and 8. Ticats from their 49. The pass complete to Lee Knight, who drives ahead to the 53 of BC, and he's a yard away from a first down. Al Bruno has not gambled on 3rd and 1 tonight, and he's had 3 chances in the first half. We'll see if he does now, because they're further downfield than they were in any of those other occasions. That's right. The coaches will break it down into a plus side of the field, meaning the other team's side of center field, or the minus side. If you're in the middle of the field and your defense is playing well, you may go for it to continue some momentum, but you certainly, a lot of coaches that don't like to gamble when they're on the minus side, their side of the field.
3rd down. Ticats, a yard to go from the BC 53. Kerrigan will keep off the left side, and we'll see where they mark the ball. And he has the first down as signaled by referee Dave Ewell. Well, the owner of the Hamilton Tiger Cats happens to be here watching his team play tonight. I speak of David Braley, who joins us in the booth. Dave, do you make a lot of road trips, all the road trips?
Well, we haven't made them all, but I try to make as many as I can, and this is the 3rd one this year.
Like what you're seeing tonight?
Our team's playing very well. We're a little bit battered and bruised. We've got 8 regulars or starters that aren't playing. I think 5 of them are on defense, and we're doing quite well. The team plays as a unit.
Dave, how do you feel about crowds and the whole situation with your team this season?
Well, we've had some difficulties. As you realize, in Hamilton, the crowds weren't very large, particularly before I bought the team. There was approximately 10,000 there a game. Well, last year we got up to 17,300, and this year we should average somewhere between 18 and 20,000.
I wanted to ask you a question, Mr. Braley, regarding guaranteed win night. Could you elaborate a little bit on that?
Well, we lost the Grey Cup game by 3 points. We lost the opening game of the season in Saskatchewan by 3 points, both in the last minute. And the Braley bunch, the Tiger Cat management, the team, we've had enough, and it's time to win and get our revenge, and we're going to be ready.
Kerrigan completes to Lee Knight on 2nd down, and David Braley will like this as Lee Knight gets deep into BC territory at the 22-yard line. Dave, when you took over the team, you didn't expect to turn it around and make a profit or even break even overnight.
No, I didn't.
Are things on course?
Yes. You know, Mr. Ballard lost $3.3 million when he had the team in 1988. We lost just slightly under $500,000. This year we budgeted for $300,000, and we're right on schedule. We think we can have it break even in the next year or 2.
The other question I want to ask Mr. Braley, does a fellow like Angelo Mosca, who's really a legend and an institution in the Hamilton area, you know, if you've got him involved in marketing the team, do you feel that people are responding to some of those older guys from the glory years?
You have 2 or 3 areas you've got to reach. Mosca reaches those people that were there 20 years ago. We have the young people and the players on the team reaching those people that are there today, and we're out in the corporate community trying to sell corporate packages and group sales and season tickets. So it takes all methods of marketing to reach the fans.
Richard Nurse of the Ticats on the receiving end of a Kerrigan pass, has it down to the 11-yard line. We'll get David Braley to stay with us and see if the Ticats can put it in the end zone. This pass by Kerrigan, though, is overthrown. I think he expected one of his receivers to go deep into the end zone, but he didn't. And so we'll see Paulus Baldiston and the Ticat field goal team come out. What kind of a crowd are you expecting, Dave, for a guaranteed win night against the Sketch?
We expect no less than 20,000. If everything goes right, we could have 24,000 plus, which would be very, very nice.
Indeed it would.
We have a problem with midweek games in Hamilton. The first midweek game was 13,000, and the second one was 14,800. On the weekends, the people will come out. We're a city that works on shifts. It's very difficult to get people out during the week.
Paulus Baldiston with an 18-yard field goal that is good, and the Ticat lead grows to 8 points to 23-15. David Braley, thank you very much.
Well, thank you for having me. Dave
Braley, the owner of the Hamilton Ticats. We have 11:14 left in the third quarter at BC Place.
Thanks, Mr. Braley.
Norm Jefferson, number 12 of the BC Lions, has had 2 long punt returns tonight, wiped out by penalties. He'll watch this kickoff return by Lorenzo Graham from the BC 15-yard line. Graham breaks the initial Hamilton tacklers and is up to center field. Lorenzo Graham has done a good job returning kickoffs, and there's another one right there.
Probably the first thing Lorenzo Graham does when he gets up is going to look around and see if there's any flags on the field.
Flags have been very costly to the BC Lions tonight.
Well, the Lions are lucky. They're blessed with some pretty good receiver runner types. Lorenzo Graham one, and the other one is Kennard Martin, who I think Larry Treherick really considers his #1 best runner.
Doug Flutie is in at quarterback for the BC Lions, and he hands up the middle to Lorenzo Graham. So the Lions down by 8 points, 23-15. Doug Flutie comes into the game. Now he has been bothered by a rib cartilage injury and a sore shoulder in the last 2 or 3 weeks, and that has affected his performance. And Larry Hartstelly's still not 100%.
No, but his running ability right now is going to force Hamilton to do maybe some different things defensively.
2nd and 5 for Flutie and the Lions from the Hamilton 50. Flutie takes off with the ball and drops it to Skinner to the 40-yard line. Chris Skinner fumbles, has it ripped out of his hands, and it goes out of bounds. So the Lions will hang on to the ball and actually gain some yards on the fumble.
There's a perfect illustration of what I was just talking about, is that with Joe Popo in there, the Hamilton defense was closing down the pocket very tight, trying to squeeze him inside. First thing Flutie does, of course, is he rolls out there, gets outside the contain, and just dumps the ball off. Now Hamilton's pass rush has got to spread out a little bit. They can't squeeze that pocket like they were doing with Popo.
Joe Popo not injured. He has just been taken out, so Doug Flutie gets a chance. Flutie 1st and 10 after a 17-yard gain to Skinner from the Hamilton 33. The handoff, big hole up the middle, and all the way to the Hamilton 16-yard line is Lorenzo Graham.
Well, the other thing that a running quarterback can do is now he's made your defense think laterally rather than rushing upfield. So all he does now is he's going to hand the ball straight up the middle. With those Hamilton defenders thinking as much laterally as up the field, it opens up their running game a little more.
Flutie and the Lions from the 15-yard line. That was a 17-yard run by Graham. Fake by Flutie. He's going to take off. He has lots of room, and now he'll head for the sideline and get out of bounds at the 4-yard line, and that looks like a first down. And Lou Pasaglia can either kick a convert or a field goal from the looks of things and break the record.
Well, he looks like he may have been watching Matt Dunnigan films there. How many times you've seen Dunnigan do this same type of thing? Threaten the pass, force the defense to back off, tuck it under his arm, and take off.
1st and goal, Lions from the 4. Flutie. And this is knocked down at the goal line and nearly intercepted by Sonny Gordon. Flutie saying to himself, I had to loop that ball and not fire it. He's exactly right. He critiques his own work very well as Passaglia looks on, 1 point away from breaking Dave Cutler's all-time scoring record.
Yeah, that one, Doug Flutie tried to force that ball a little bit that time. It's just too many defenders around there. Good chance you might see him roll out again this time.
2nd and goal, Lions. Straight back in the pocket. Flutie throws in the end zone. Touchdown, Ray Alexander. And now CFL history is about to be made as Lou Passaglia comes out to attempt a convert that would break David Cutler's all-time points record of 2,237. And BC Place is alive with chance of Lou as Passaglia lines up. He's missed one convert in his entire career, and he has the record. Lou Passaglia's wife, Loa, and she's not as excited as some of the fans, but you know inside she is feeling as good as her husband, Lou Passaglia, is. $2,238 points now for Lou Passaglia, breaking the record set by his idol, Dave Cutler. There's Murray Pezim, the Lions owner, as we'll have a special presentation here.
And as simple as that play seems, not that dramatic, you know that it's going to be shown again and again and again.
That's Dave Cutler hugging Passaglia and congratulating him.
You know, probably at this moment, you would think that Louis said, I still have to do it. We're still a football game. I still have to do it. The same motion I've done 1,000 times. And then it's like the floodgates or the dam bursting. A lot of emotion and probably a lot of relief, too.
Jan Carinci, the man who held and was part of the record, is Lou Passaglia. Kicked that convert. Dave Cutler now on the field making a presentation to Louis, shaking his hand, congratulating him. The deputy mayor of Vancouver is also involved, handing Louis a proclamation, congratulating him on the record and for all the things he's done during his playing career in BC, because Passaglia has been a great member of the community, involved in many activities off the field.
Well, he hasn't.
Ladies and gentlemen, representing the city of Vancouver, Alderman Gordon Price.
Hi, Louis. I've got a letter here from the mayor. Let me read it. On behalf of the sports fans of Vancouver, gives me great pleasure to congratulate you on breaking an all-time CFL scoring record. We remember with admiration that Dave Cutler broke the previous record on August 24th, 1977, almost 13 years ago to the day. When Dave retired 6 years ago, that record seemed unbeatable. It would therefore be fair to say that you have achieved the seemingly impossible and now hold a new record, which will also stand as a significant milestone for many years to come. Thank you for the great moments in sport that you've provided for the Lions and other sporting fans. Thank you.
A historic moment in the CFL as you're watching the Molson Canadian Football Network. Eight minutes, 25 seconds left in the third quarter. The touchdown by Ray Alexander and then the record-breaking convert by Lou Pasaglia has put the BC Lions within a point of the Hamilton Ticats. Derek McAdoo returning the kickoff out to the Hamilton 32. He fumbles the ball. And Hamilton got it back, much to the dismay of the Lions and the fans, although Doug Landry is celebrating as though BC has it, but the signal is that it's Hamilton ball.
It's interesting, Bob, but this touchdown reception here may just be one of those trivia questions or a footnote to I guess what they would call the real event. Ray Alexander coming down and just working to the area where you just keep working to the area where they figure there's no defenders. With the defender playing in behind him, he just uses his body to shield him off.
And the ensuing convert then resulted in Louis Pasaglia breaking the all-time points record held by Dave Cutler, former Edmonton Eskimo great, and we're happy to have Dave with us. Dave, your reaction to the record-breaking point?
Oh, I think it's just a fantastic thing because the one thing about Louis is that he's always been a class act, and I think more importantly for even than Louis is I think that this shows the CFL where it's going and the kind of quality that's around right now. And I'm very, very happy for the BC Lions and Louis, and number one for his family though, because they're the ones that got him through all this, and his mom and dad I know have supported him a long, long way.
Dave, when you quit in 1984, how long did you think the record would stand?
Well, I think that you've got to be realistic anytime you have a record, and I think that the one thing that I was lucky with is that with the Eskimos, I never thought it was anything more than just borrowing it for a while, and somebody always is going to come along that's going to be better than you are, and I think it really speaks well for where the Canadian Football League is going with the talent of people like Louis.
Dave, how do you feel about having another Simon Fraser University alumnus breaking your own record? That makes it kind of unique in a sense.
Well, I think we probably had a lot of practice because it means we didn't score many touchdowns, didn't it?
Dave, let me ask you this. When you kicked, at least early in your career, you didn't have domed stadiums, artificial turf. Is it easier for today's kickers?
Well, we barely even had leather footballs, but I think that, the game has changed. I think the offenses are better, the defenses are better, and the opportunities that come along they change pace during the game, and I don't think you can take anything away from what Louis has done, because I think that what he's done is what he's done, and it's just a huge record.
Do you think we'll ever see another straight-ahead kicker in the CFL?
I hope so. I know one back in Edmonton.
Dave, in actuality, you're just a frustrated linebacker, aren't you?
That's why I ended up going from 6 feet to 5'10". You're right.
Dave, thanks very much. We appreciate your talking.
Okay, thank you very much.
Dave Cutler on hand at BC Place to watch Lou Pasaglia's record-breaking performance. And while we're talking with Dave, the Hamilton training staff attending to an injured Ticat, a concerned Al Bruno, looking on. Bruno's Ticats trailing by a point, 23-22, with 8:15 remaining in the third quarter at BC Place. I think that's Derek McAdoo, who just returned to kick. Ray Alexander on a pass from Doug Flutie, getting the Lions to within one.
You get another look at this play where Flutie is just looking downfield. Again, he makes Rockford think that he's going to run up the field. Rockford steps up to make the play. The moment that Rockford steps up, Flutie throws the ball. Very heads-up, aware play by Doug Flutie. And for Ray Alexander, as I mentioned earlier, just to keep working across the middle. The moment that Rockford steps up, he's got a lot more room to work in there.
You know, the thing that impressed Larry Kuharich about Flutie when he first saw him was the accuracy and the zip he had on the ball. Flutie has not been able to throw as McAdoo leaves the field as hard as he had in the past because of the injury, but he looked pretty good there, Nick.
Well, he did, and probably it's a little easier for him when he's moving. He's got a little more oomph behind his throws when he's moving as opposed to standing still.
Mike Kerrigan back to throw, and he's looking for Lee Morris. The pass incomplete. 7:58 left in the third quarter at BC Place. The Ticats leading the Lions 23-22. Robert Covington is out of the game with a pulled hamstring, and Derek McAdoo, this is the third time in the game, at least maybe the fourth, that he's been helped off the field. So McAdoo's a punishing runner and takes a lot of hits at the best of times. Has come out on the short end a few times tonight. Kerrigan throwing complete to Richard Nurse. Nice move by Nurse, and that gets him a lot more yardage down the sideline. They rule him out of bounds at center field.
You saw Kerrigan go deep to play earlier, and that really didn't work. He's throwing into double coverage. This time, really, he just goes back to what he does the best. He looks to the right, wants the defense to step that way. Just a little short dump pass to the sidelines, and lets Nurse do the rest himself. They're looking for those one-on-one matchups, and once those guys have got the ball, they're doing a good job picking up extra yardage.
From center field, first down. Handoff goes inside to Sam Laux, and he finds a good opening. Darren Willis came up to make the stop on Sam Laux, who picked up 8, maybe 9 yards. A McMaster graduate who was a 6th-round draft pick in 1989. 6'2", 215 pounds. And he bowled his way ahead for 8 yards. 2nd and 2, Ticats, BC 46.5-yard line. This is Laux again to the 45 and across. He will be very close to a Ticat first down.
The BC Lions are doing, as we mentioned earlier in the game, they're doing a little bit of what Hamilton's trying to do on defense. They're taking their end, Mike Henry, who normally lines up on the line of scrimmage, and they're walking him around back in there, try to create some problems. And if they feel it's a passing situation, they may blitz him up the middle and hope to get lucky like they did in the first part of the game, where he came through unblocked and got a sack.
Ticats short by inches, and Al Bruno will go for it at the BC 45-yard line. 60 years of age. Very relaxed, though, Al Bruno this year. Even though his team got off to a 1-3 start, Bruno no stranger to slow starts. That has been the norm for Hamilton, with the exception of last year when they got out of the gate with a 5-0 record. 3rd and inches. Kerrigan keeps, and he gets the first down to the BC 44-yard line.
Well, we spoke earlier in the game how I think that if you want to get an easy yard or a half a yard, you're going to go behind those big horses. And Hamilton has as big an offensive line as there is in this league. You look at guys like Dirks and Gorell, well over 300 pounds, and Riley and Harley and Robertus, they're all 270 plus. Those big men just get a tremendous surge. It's like an ocean wave coming at the defense. Quarterback just sneaks in behind them.
Kerrigan will drop back behind them now for Richard Estelle. Leaping catch to the 20 and inside of the 18-yard line of BC. Richard Estelle, big inviting target for Kerrigan.
Well, he is, and it's a lot of fun when you're a receiver that you're running down the field. And he plays off that bump by Ken Watson, who's trying to jam him. The thing is, when Watson hits him and lets him go, the deep man's got to be right away on that receiver. There was a bit of a lag time there and allow Estelle to catch the ball.
Estelle over 100 yards receiving tonight. And the Ticats from the 18, handoff inside to Sam Laux, who stays on his feet, gets across the 15 and in perhaps to the 14-yard line. I want to know how Miles Gorell will feel about you suggesting he's well over 300 pounds, which of course he is. He won't mind, will he?
Oh, I don't know. Well, I hope he doesn't mind, because he's an awful big guy at 6'8". He's played over 202 games, I believe, now in his career. And for any offensive lineman or any player for that matter, 200 games is a heck of a milestone. And he's having a big night tonight.
That weight of 290 was submitted by Miles Gorell. That's the one he wanted on the screen. 2nd and 6, Kerrigan throws in the end zone for Lee Morris, and he can't get there. Morris has not caught a pass tonight, and he won't catch that one. And the Ticats are now in a field goal situation. Mike Kerrigan put a nice drive together, but they couldn't finish it.
On that play there, they were going for the touchdown, obviously. And what Kerrigan does, he throws to a spot in the corner of the end zone. He's hoping that the receiver can run to that spot. And Jefferson just did a real good job of not allowing the receiver to turn upfield. He forced him to run laterally as opposed to vertically. He couldn't get to the ball.
Lou Pasaglia has broken Cutler's record tonight, and Paulus Baldwin has been all but perfect, and he adds a 22-yard field goal to his resume. And that puts Hamilton in front 26-22 as Dave Cutler and Lou Pasaglia visit at the bench. In the third quarter at BC Place, the Hamilton Tiger Cats lead the Lions 26-22. And Paulus Baldwin will kick off after his 4th field goal of the night. And Lorenzo Graham on a ball that skipped along the turf, had a hard time getting a hold of it, and then is stopped at the 23 on the return. Steve Wilburn made the stop. So the Lions, who have had good kick returns all night, will start deeper in their territory than they've been accustomed to as Doug Flutie comes back out. He replaced Joe Pow early in this third quarter.
Well, it is a critical drive for them, Bob. The big reason being that they're starting deep in their own end, inside their own 25-yard line, and they've enjoyed good field position all night, and I know that was, again, something critical for Larry Kuharich. He wanted to see his team get good returns and start in good field position.
Alexander and Willis are wide left. Vino and Carinci right. Flutie throws back to the right side after rolling left and completes it for a gain of 7 yards to Kennard Martin, who's in the game, for Lorenzo Graham. They've been alternating, although Graham has played more than Martin. It's up to the 31, so the gain is between 7 and 8. Flutie off to a good start coming into the game, and Joe Pow high percentage night again. 158 yards. Second down and a long 2 from the 31. The handoff, and it's a first down as Kennard Martin pops off the left side across the 35 to the 36.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, one thing about a scrambling quarterback, he will get your defense thinking about other things. They're really worried about Doug Flutie just tucking the ball under his arm and running, because Larry Kuharich did a lot of that last year with Danny Barrett, and he's not afraid to let his quarterbacks run, and I'm sure that's in their arsenal.
First and 10, Lions at their 37. Flutie to Kennard Martin up to the 45. 8 more yards as Doug Flutie does a good job of making the short game work. Bobby Dawson made the stop.
Flutie is displaying the patience and probably picked some of that up from just watching Pow in the game. You don't get it all back at once. Just work the ball down the field, and Hamilton was going to give them those 5, 6, 7-yard gains.
Second and 2, Lions. Their 45-yard line. We look for them to run, and they do. Chris Skinner carrying, and he's to the 50, gets away from Gatavekis, and adds 3 more yards. Terrific effort by Chris Skinner.
Well, great things can happen if you just keep your legs moving. That's a prime consideration for any football player in order to do your job, and it really doesn't matter what position it is. But you see Skinner here, just the first rule of being a good player is keep those feet moving. Don't allow one man to bring you down, and Hamilton gets in and then gang tackles, but not until Skinner's got what he needs.
Flutie straight back in the pocket on first down. Sprints out of there now, and the right side is wide open for Doug Flutie, who will go out of bounds at the 40 of Hamilton after a 15-yard run.
Well, it's getting hot inside the stadium, and as a defender, it's extremely frustrating. You're working hard. You're trying to push the pocket on the quarterbacks. With Pow, at least you know where he is. You're trying to get in his face. Now you've got something else to contend with. Covington is out, so you've got some new people in there again. You've got injury problems. Let's see what they're made of here right now.
And Flutie can really run, as you just saw. He has tremendous speed. Kennard Martin on first down. Waits for the hole to develop. It was there, and he went for 7 off the right side. As Al Bruno sees his defense being eaten up at this moment by a nice BC Lion drive. Bruno's Ticats ahead by 4, 26-22. 50 seconds left, third quarter. And the Lions are past their season rushing average tonight. Will they run on second down and 3.5 or 4 from the 34? No, they'll throw. Flutie, lots of time, tries to get out, dumps it off. Chris Skinner down to the 28, and that'll be a BC first down.
You can't coach that type of play. More than anything, it's just pure instinct where, again, you think you've got him trapped or he's caged in there exactly where you want him to throw from. Just displays good athletic ability. Again, an instinctive type of play, which you'll see guys like Ham and Dunnigan, quarterbacks like that, do that all night. And you see Doug Flutie doing it right there.
From the 28 of Hamilton, first and 10 Lions. Flutie hands off to Kennard Martin. This time Hamilton stops him for a gain of 1, maybe 2, so they stiffen up as the Lions move in and threaten to score. And that play closes the third quarter. The Ticats with a 4-point lead. The fourth quarter begins at BC Place Stadium in Vancouver. Al Bruno and Larry Kuharich looking on. Bruno with the upper hand at this moment, a 4-point lead for his Hamilton Tiger Cats on Kuharich's BC Lions. Hamilton 3-3, BC 2-3-1 coming into this game that means a lot early in the season, even though it's early in the season.
I want to know why Larry's wearing a sweater in here. It's pretty warm. It looks sharp. I mean, it looks nice, but I'm finding it awful hot. And the thing that has impressed me is that the Tiger Cats have come in here again after a long road trip with a lot of injured people, and they've hung in tough. They've done an excellent job.
Ken Carinci to hold for Louis Pasaglia on a 33-yard field goal try. And Louis pulls it to the left again as he did early in the game. And he will add another point to his total, his record total, which now goes up to 2,239, but he won't be very happy about that, I'll guarantee you, because instead of getting BC to within 1 point, the Lions are 3 behind. And you know, if this night could be ruined for Lou Pasaglia, and I don't know if that's possible or not, that's the kind of thing that could do it if the Lions lose this football game. Well, we hope you'll join us on Wednesday night on the Canadian Football Network. We'll be in Toronto at the Sky Dome, the Blue Bombers at 4-2, and the Argos 3-3. That is a big game, 7:30 Eastern. Join us. Winnipeg and Toronto, Wednesday night on CFL. Ticats from their 35, Mike Kerrigan. Looks long for Richard Nurse, and it was almost intercepted by Norm Jefferson.
Norm Jefferson has definitely been a busy man tonight, what with the kickoff returns, and again the team is trying to take it. Got a bit of a rest there, you saw, and more than anything it's probably just to help him do his job on defense, because Hamilton hasn't gone deep that often tonight, but when they have, they've tried Jefferson's side more so than the other side.
Second and 10, Ticats from their 35-yard line. Kerrigan screens to McAdoo. And Derek McAdoo, ever fighting ahead, gets to the 43-yard line. But he needed a couple more for a Hamilton first down. So they'll face a punting situation.
Normally, these are the type of plays that you expect both teams to employ, especially when they're only rushing, let's say, 3 linemen and dropping a lot of people in coverage. Draws and screens are normally very effective because you get a good separation between the rushing linemen and the linebackers, which are dropping off. You've got a bit of a middle area there within which to work.
Ball is Balliston with a slight edge on Pasaglia in the punting department. Third down and a couple. Ticats at their 43. Low snap as Balliston is able to scoop it up and get the kickoff. Norm Jefferson, who's had 2 big returns wiped out by penalties, has no chance to return this one out of bounds at the 25. Molson and the Canadian Football Network proud to bring you the best of the CFL. Both Hamilton quarterbacks, Mike Kerrigan and Todd Dillon, were free agents this spring and re-signed with the Ticats. Kerrigan has enjoyed a very good night at BC Place Stadium. Dillon has not played. 13 minutes left, fourth quarter. Hamilton leading by 3 over BC. Lions from their 25 after a Hamilton punt. Flutie to Jane Carinci. Gadavekis brings him down, but Carinci's out to the 52-yard line of BC.
The fact that it's Flutie at quarterback and running things like play action will cause those linebackers to freeze a little bit. You see them step up like Frank Robinson does. Then he just finds that open area between the deep defensive backs and the under people, the linebackers.
Carinci back from injury, his first catch of the night. Hand off to Lorenzo Graham. And the Ticats stopped that for a short game. Darryl Corbin made the first contact. Mark Napierkowski
He's played well this year. Al Bruno figures that he's really starting to come into his own, and one of the reasons is he thinks he's taking the game a little more seriously, taking his training more seriously, and he's known as the prankster, I guess, on the Hamilton Tiger Cats. But really, he was a fill-in player, and he's playing well. He's getting good upfield pressure.
Well, it's a 26-23 game. Hamilton in front. Derek McAdoo scored the first touchdown of the game for the Ticats. Larry Willis answered for BC on a pass from Joe Pow. And Paulus Baldiston with a field goal early in the second quarter. And the Ticat lead went to 5 points as Baldiston another field goal. Ray Alexander scored for BC late in the second, but a turnover set up a Lee Knight touchdown for Hamilton, and they took a 5-point lead at halftime. As Baldiston with another field goal, his third of the night. Ticats were up by 8. And then Ray Alexander with a touchdown catch from Flutie. The convert was the record-breaking point for Lou Pasaglia on that one. As Baldiston made it 4 for 4 on the night with a 22-yard field goal, and then Lou Pasaglia missed a 34-yard field goal. He earlier missed a 47-yarder, and again, it's been a great night for Lou in that he's broken the record. But if the Lions lose this game, there will be things about it he won't remember very fondly. 12:27, the time left in the fourth quarter at BC Place. Darryl Corbin of the Ticats took a shot in the back. He was on his back for a couple of minutes, winded, but looks like he might think about returning to the game. Second down and 8 for the BC Lions at their 53-yard line. They're down by 3 points. 12 minutes and a little bit left in the fourth quarter. Flutie scrambling around. Boy, you get a real good look at his speed on plays like that. He fumbles the ball as he's tackled at the 50-yard line. He'll gain 8 or 9, and they rule that he was down before the ball popped out. But this guy can run like a deer.
Well, Steve Wilburn certainly found that out, because he came up the field. You'll see it at the bottom of your screen. He came up the field and he was clean. In other words, he was in good position, and just being caught even one step too far inside. And you see Flutie being able to come around and escape. And you see Jim Rockford, boy, this is a nightmare for a defensive back. He's sitting back in there just looking to help out. And the minute you see that quarterback escape, you've got to come over there and try to make the play. And there's a lot of territory to cover. And you're going one-on-one with a wily, elusive quarterback.
Third and a couple. Flutie throws to Skinner, but the pass was high. There was pressure on Flutie. Skinner was wide open as the Lions had the right situation called, but Doug Flutie couldn't quite get the ball to Chris Skinner.
Well, that's one of those things where perhaps his height was a disadvantage, obviously, because as he's trying to throw the ball, Gadavakis get his hands up and in his face. He had to throw it just a little bit higher to get it over top of Gadavakis, and you saw the result.
Well, that's the second time, too, where he's had a pass that he hasn't lofted properly, and the first time he was scolding himself for doing just that. So the Ticats take over on downs. A turnover by the Lions on downs, and a first down run by Sam Laux gets Hamilton 5 yards. 10 minutes, 55 seconds left, fourth quarter. Ticats lead 26-23. Larry Kuharich developed quite a reputation for gambling when he was head coach of the Calgary Stampeders. He's been a little more conservative this year, but felt the Lions should take a shot at it there on that third down situation. Kerrigan completes to Richard Nurse on second down. They convert to a first down to the BC 48-yard line, and Richard Nurse has played well at wide receiver.
Certainly has, and that's a very heads-up play by a first-year player. In other words, knowing where the marker is, getting past the markers so that if you have to come back to the football to protect it from the defender, you still get the first down.
You know, in Zatilny and Winfield out, the Ticats lose 40 catches, 772 yards, and 9 touchdowns this season. So that's the kind of impact losing those two players has, as McAdoo carries on first downs and picks up a couple of tough yards.
Well, the other thing that does is, I figured this out today, is that it's 250 yards of combined returns and offense that those guys, without it, having those guys out of there, you're giving that up, and no team can afford to give up that much production.
That's per game.
That's right.
Wide receivers Winfield and Zatilny out, but the Ticats have done well without them tonight. They lead by 3 and are 2nd and 8 at the BC 46. Kerrigan for Lee Knight. He has it at the 20 down to the 15-yard line. And Lee Knight, filling in for Rocky DiPietro, has also had a big, big game.
And he's very reminiscent of Rocky DiPietro in that particular situation where both big guys. Lee Knight is 6'3" himself, so that it looks like the same type of thing, and just reaching up and pulling that ball in between the two defenders and hanging on to it when he knows he's going to get hit. He's very reminiscent of Rocky on that play, I thought.
31-yard gain. Look at the night that Lee Knight has had. And isn't Mike Kerrigan throwing the ball beautifully? Kerrigan, this one's knocked down and intercepted by Willie Pless at the BC 26.
That's really one of the ways that you have to disrupt a timing thrower. You know that the quarterback, Kerrigan, normally is only going to take 3 steps, turn and throw to the man that he wants. Willie Plessis does an excellent job of, from the line of scrimmage, getting his hands up and more than anything reacting. You can't really anticipate getting the ball. It's more than anything just a reaction because you're so close to the quarterback. And Mike Kerrigan definitely got to work on his tackling technique.
That's the first Hamilton turnover, and from a BC point of view, a very, very timely one, as they halt a Hamilton drive that looked sure to produce more points. Doug Flutie gets away, finds Larry Willis up at the 43-yard line, and he is really rocked by Sonny Gordon, but he has a good gain and a first down.
You see really an ebb and flow of emotions here. That big play as soon as there's a turnover there. You saw that earlier in the game with Hamilton. You see that now with the BC Lions. Doug Flutie showed good pinpoint passing and arm strength on that play.
Coming into this game, both these teams had only 9 interceptions each, so that's a rare occurrence for BC to intercept the ball, but a key one by Willie Plessis. Skinner carries on first down from the 42 and gets across the 45. 7 minutes, 35 seconds left. Hamilton 26, BC 23.
Ran a little draw play that time. It's something that BC hasn't done that much of this year. Up until tonight, they've tried to do more of it. And Gadabakis was unblocked that time, just rushed from the outside, made the play.
Darrell Patterson also involved, the leading tackler in the CFL. 2nd down and 7, Lions at their 45-yard line. Flutie, as the middle opens up, and he'll take off and pick up the first down and then some.
If I'm playing defense for Hamilton, what do? I'm waiting for the pass. I think he's going to run. I'm waiting for the pass. I think he's going to run. He decides to run. By this time, I'm 15, 20 yards downfield.
And again, that tremendous quickness that Flutie has down to the 39-yard line of Hamilton. Here's a reverse to Larry Willis. We saw this earlier in the game, and it gained good yardage, and it will again to the 30, and Willis steps out of bounds at the 27 of the Ticats. And he has another BC first down. Bob Irving, Nick Bastai at BC Place in Vancouver. 6:21 left, 4th quarter. And Hamilton leads BC by 3 points. But the Lions are marching the ball and are down to the Ticat 27-yard line. Doug Flutie has the crowd aroused. First down handoff, big hole, Graham to the 15.
Nothing fancy about that. Your offensive linemen just get good splits up front. Just take a one-on-one and knock them out of the way. Give the ball to the back. Football at its most basic and extremely effective right now.
From the 16-yard line. 1st and 10 Lions. And run good for 11 yards. Flutie in the pocket. And he throws to Alexander. Complete at the 10. Now, where will they mark him down? He's back at the 13, but they're going to give him the 10-yard line, which will make it a gain of between 6 and 7 yards.
Ray Alexander's had a real good game tonight, and the interesting thing that he and all the other offensive weapons that the BC Lions have, they've spread the ball around. Every one of them's getting their opportunity to do something, and you can see Doug Flutie is learning from Joe Paopao right now. Run, pass, mix it up, get the ball around to different players.
Second down, Lions. 4 yards to go from the 10. Flutie with a fake. He'll take off and run and score.
If you're Ed Gadavakis of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, you're in a no-win situation. What do? You leave your receiver to get Flutie, or do you run with the receiver as he does? When you turn around, Flutie's crossing the goal line. You can't win, and Doug Flutie played that perfectly. As soon as he saw Gadavakis turn his back to cover the receiver, he took off with the ball.
Third touchdown of the year for Doug Flutie. And Lou Pasaglia adds the convert that puts the Lions ahead by 4 with 4 minutes and 46 seconds left. BC quarterback Doug Flutie just put together a 7-play, 84-yard drive that he capped with a 10-yard touchdown run. The Lions are in front of Hamilton by 4 with 4 minutes, 46 seconds to go. And Derek McAdoo waiting for the kickoff. McAdoo back to the 37-yard line of the Ticats.
Doug Flutie did an excellent job on that touchdown that time. You see all the action going to the right of your screen, getting all the Hamilton defenders to chase the fake, and then he just takes it himself, reads Gadavakis, makes the touchdown, and Larry Kuharich, well, he's trying to be a little more reserved, but you know he's excited, and his attitude is, hey, that's the way it's drawn up, and that's the way it's supposed to go. 6 points for the good guys.
Routine. Now, what can Mike Kerrigan and the Ticats do about it from their 37-yard line? Kerrigan throws to Estelle, center field wide open down to the BC 51-yard line. Tony Visco made the stop, but the Ticats look like they're about to come right back.
Well, anybody thinks that the Hamilton Tiger Cats are just going to lay down and they play like the city. It's tough, it's hard-nosed, they got lots of grit, and they're going to come right back. And BC at this point now can't afford to just, because it's getting later in the game, sit back and let them have too much, because they, again, impressed me so much with the fact they've got a lot of injuries. It's a long road trip. They're tired, and they're just playing tough.
Well, and we talked with Al Bruno about it today as Lee Knight is shaken up. He's pretty happy with the 3-3 record, Nick, given the injuries and a couple of games that the Ticats felt maybe they should have won. Bruno was quite pleased to be 3-3 at this stage. Randy Faby will come into the game for Lee Knight. Faby's only been with them a couple of practices. A former Blue Bomber released by Winnipeg over a month ago. Mike Kerrigan had an outstanding night throwing the ball, but haunting him right now is the interception that he threw to Willie Pless just moments ago that stopped the Hamilton drive, and the Lions brought it downfield and scored. Kerrigan for Lee Morris, incomplete, and Morris turned around but a little bit too late. Kerrigan not pleased with the circumstances.
Well, he's not. Part of the reason was the BC Lions got a decent pass rush that time. They closed the pocket. He may have had to throw it a little before he wanted to, before the receiver coming out of his break was ready for it.
Bruno prowling the sidelines as the Ticats come out on 2nd and 10 from the BC 51-yard line. 3.5 minutes left. Kerrigan to McAdoo at the 45. Willie Pless wraps him up down to the 42 is McAdoo. He is just a little bit more than a yard short of a first down. Willie Pless made an outstanding defensive play to stop McAdoo from getting the first down.
Well, he did, when you consider that these are the types of matchups from an offensive point of view that you want. You always figure you're in a better position when you got a running back on a linebacker. Now, if he doesn't make this tackle here under certainly adverse circumstances, he's going to go for a long way.
We have 3:04 to go, and the Lions are up by 4. 3:04 left, fourth quarter at BC Place Stadium. Hamilton trailing by 4, and Paulus Baldiston on third and a little more than a yard will attempt a 49-yard field goal. Boy, there's plenty of distance, and it's good as Baldiston gets the Ticats within a point with 2:50 to go. Well, the BC Lions have won the Grey Cup twice in their history. The first time in 1964 when Joe Kapp played quarterback for them. It's Bill Muncy with that long return on the fumble for the touchdown, and then they won it in '85, of course. There's Joe Kapp, now the general manager of the Lions. And he's enjoying this game tonight. Why not? It's been a dandy, a record-breaking performance by Lou Pasaglia. 1-point game with 2:50 to go. Lions ahead by the 1. You surprised at that call that Hamilton didn't go for the 3rd and 1, Nick?
I think Al Bruno feels that there's plenty of time in the game. He's just going to bide his time and hope to get a turnover.
Doug Flutie, first down toss to Lorenzo Graham, and he has 15 yards off left tackle.
The Lions have been pretty consistent with running the stuff that they said they were going to run. You figure with a 3-man rush and those linebackers running out of there, a lot of times there should be gaps in that defense that you can exploit. Pitch was a little bit behind. The running back just made Graham just did an excellent job of adjusting to the ball and taking it up the field as soon as he got it.
First and 10 Lions, 2:28 left. The clock is running. They're ahead by a point, and this is Chris Skinner with lots of room. Skinner all the way to the Hamilton 34-yard line.
Astute play calling here because one play sets up the other. It starts off as the same play as the play before, except this time, of course, they cut it back at what they call against the grain. All the defenders are running to the right. Skinner reads that and just takes it off to the left where there's no defenders. Makes a nice gain out of it.
And you know that Larry Kuharich, the BC coach, is loving this for many reasons that are obvious, but the running game that he believes so strongly in and has worked so well tonight for 218 yards. This is Kennard Martin, and he has many more. Down the sidelines and out of bounds at the 21. Another BC first down.
Well, I've alluded to a couple times tonight about the fact that the Tiger Cats came in yesterday, and when this game started, really, it was 7:30 Eastern time for them, so it's late. And I think the fatigue factor right now is starting to come into play a little bit. The Hamilton does not look really crisp in their tackling in this fourth quarter, and maybe they're getting worn down a little bit.
2:11 left in the fourth quarter. There's just more than 32,000 at BC Place Stadium. Watch the Lions move into scoring range. They're ahead by 1, BC, 30-29. A first down carry gets them 2, maybe 3 yards. Now Kuharich will discuss with Flutie from the bench what they're going to do on second down. If they just put it in front and let Pasaglia kick a field goal, take a 4-point lead, or do you go in for the touchdown? I think you try to score the touchdown, don't you, Nick?
I would think so, and in either case, they're in a pretty good position right now.
Second down and 8 from the 19-yard line. Flutie with the fake, and he shovels the pass intended for Jan Carinci, but it was short of him, and this will bring Lou Pasaglia back into the game.
Rod Skillman made a heck of a play that time, just getting upfield a lot quicker than Flutie expected. And there, you know, no one has conceded the game to the Lions on the Hamilton defense, that's for sure. They've played hard all night, continue to do so, and they're hoping one of these times that one of those little dump passes he's throwing ends up in the wrong hands.
Lou has missed from 47 and 34 yards. Lou Pasaglia, this will be a 26-yard try with Carinci holding. And this one is good, and the Lions have a 4-point lead with 1:43 left. After tonight's game, we will select and talk to a Molson MVP. Boy, do we have some candidates tonight, as we often do.
You know, we were talking about how tired the Tiger Cats are. And see, Louis, just another day at the office. I think that game that they played last week was a very, very hard-hitting game. And I think the effects of that are starting to catch up to them now.
Mike Kerrigan from his 35. Back to pass. This one is tipped at the line. And it was a tip and interception by Willie Pless early in this quarter that turned this game in BC's favor.
Well, once again, the two ways to disrupt a timing offense is bump those receivers, don't let them get downfield when they want to. And the other part, of course, is pushing the offensive line back into the quarterback's face.
2nd and 10. Ticats. Kerrigan, and the pass is knocked away, intended for Estelle. Tight coverage by Watson.
Now Bruno looks pretty calm on the sidelines. You thought he might have had some complaint here. You see Estelle getting a running start like so many of slots do in the league, and just getting a push off Ken Watson. Rick Ryan doing as all safeties are supposed to, coming over and helping out. But a lot of times, who initiated the contact, who initiated the push?
And the Ticats are going to go for it on 3rd and 10 from their 35. Wide open is Richard Nurse, and he's to the BC 54. A calm, cool, poised throw by Mike Kerrigan to young Richard Nurse. 1:28 left, and the Ticats are alive still. Kerrigan back to pass. And he finds Sam Loucks down to the BC 46-yard line for a 7-yard gain. 1:20 to go. BC ahead by 4.
I like to see this. He's going to these young people, and they're responding. He's challenging his teammates. Let's move this ball down the field.
2nd down, Kerrigan throws. The pass was high. McAdoo was there, but Kerrigan threw it just a little bit high, and he knows it. I don't know about you, Nick, but I hate to see either of these teams lose this game.
They have played tremendous football tonight. Mike Kerrigan has shown, I think, tremendous leadership. He's playing like the Mike Kerrigan that I think that we know. He's also done a good job of moving the ball around, employing all his weapons, and I like what he's done.
He looks at a 3rd down now and 2 yards to go from the BC 45. McAdoo has it down to the Lion 41-yard line. You go to your money man in the crunch, and that's what the Ticats did, and Derek McAdoo was not going to be denied. 1:09 left. Hamilton trailing 33-29, and they get a 1st down at the BC 41. Kerrigan, the pump fake, and then the deep throw, and it's no good. Intended for Lee Morris, who gave it everything he had to try to get to the ball.
That pump fake was to try to freeze that defender a little bit, but Major really didn't bite on it, and it'd be a cardinal sin to allow any receiver to get behind you at this stage of the game, though you do see it, often. But the idea is to let everything develop in front of you.
Kerrigan yelling the play as the noise level in BC Place rises each time. The Ticats move out over the ball. 2nd and 10. It's a draw to McAdoo, and Landry has him.
I like the call, Bob, because I think in this particular situation, it may fool the defense. Key word here, I guess, is may, because Doug Landry, once again, we've talked about his great instincts for not being fooled, or at least recovering well, makes the big play when it counts.
Well, I like the call, too, but for what it's worth, it didn't work. But it could have caught the defense off guard, but Doug Landry, again, we talked before the game with Larry Q. Hart. What a natural this guy is. He's just a gifted athlete with great football instincts and all the rest of it, as the Lions have a player injured. But 10 tackles last week. Joelson, the injured BC player, 10 tackles last week in his second game back, 4 the first game back. He just gets better every week.
Well, his attitude is infectious, but he's one of those types of players, like a lot of players, sure, we love to play the game, we hate practices. But Tank Landry's one of those guys that likes to go to training camp because he figures I'm going to get 3 square meals a day, I can be with my buddies, I got a place to sleep, and practice is football too, even though players by and large hate training camp and don't like practicing. But he's just one of those guys that says, I enjoy all that. That's all part and parcel of it. And I just love being out there and doing it.
54 seconds left in the fourth quarter. BC leads by 4, 33-29. The Ticats are 3rd and 10 at the BC 41-yard line. To Lee Knight down to the 19. Willis made the stop. Lee Knight has been Kerrigan's main target all night long. He has 9 catches now. And the Ticats, with 40 seconds left, are down at the BC 19-yard line. Is this any good?
They're displaying tremendous character right now. Just tremendous character.
20-yard line is where the ball is. Kerrigan in the pocket, throws, and it's behind the intended receiver, Lee Morris. I don't think he was throwing for McAdoo as their paths crossed. 32 seconds left. Lou Pasaglia has broken Dave Cutler's all-time scoring record this evening. Ray Alexander has a couple of BC touchdowns. Lee Knight has 1 and 9 catches for Hamilton. And the BC quarterbacks, Pow and Flutie, have combined to produce 4 touchdowns. The Lions with a 4-point lead. 32 seconds to go. Hamilton 2nd and 10. BC 20-yard line. Lee Knight again. First down at the 6. Willie Pless makes the stop as Mike Kerrigan does a fabulous job of converting these 2nd and 3rd down situations.
I mean, there's a lot of those defenders who are going to see number 25 in their dreams tonight, and he's just having a whale of a football game.
Hurry up offense from the 6. Kerrigan. Touchdown Ticats, and they take the lead. Richard Nurse.
If you want to look at a situation perhaps where you'd like to think that all the cards are stacked against you, and then you can respond with a lot of new players in there. He's going to sleep with that ball under his pillow tonight, I guarantee you that. Here's a character building situation where young people in there, it's a pressure packed, everything's on the line, they come through in the clutch. It makes you feel good about your teammates, it makes you feel good about your situation.
And Hamilton has a 36-33 lead. Richard Nurse with the touchdown, his first in his CFL career, and Mike Kerrigan has been spectacular in this last couple of minutes.
Well, he needed this, Bob, coming into the game. The things just hadn't been going that well for him, whether or not it was his fault, if you want to use that word. But regardless, with this type of performance, to me, he's established who the #1 quarterback is, without a doubt.
Look at those numbers. 394 yards. 26 out of 42. Best night of the year for Mike Kerrigan. But there are 24 seconds left, folks. Don't go anywhere. It's a 3-point game. And the Lions will have a chance to return the kickoff, and they've done that well tonight. They've hit some big runbacks. And they should still have 15 or 16 seconds to play after they run the kickoff back. Good kickoff by Osbaldiston. Lorenzo Graham. And the Lions are already almost in field goal range.
Well, once again, if it comes down to a kick to win the game, who else do you want but
60 minutes of football. In their last game, the Lions could not stop a long Hamilton touchdown drive late in the game. And they could not kick a last play field goal that would have forced the game into overtime. And the result was yet another tough loss for Larry Q. Harich and the Lions.